It's 6 o'clock. If you can do roll call, please, Bridget.
Chris Brown? Adam Carson? Linda Hope? Here. Lindsay Keisman?
Here.
Ray Lapinus?
Here.
Amy Raff?
Here.
John Reinhardt?
Here.
Joan Schofield?
Here.
Connie Machini?
Here. Public comment. Is there anybody that has any public comment? Come on up, state your name. You have 3 minutes to talk to us. Did it come on?
Check 1, 2.
I'm trying to get you on here.
There we go. Thank you. Again, Rob Unit, Warp Core, Executive Director and Founder. Really, apologies for missing the December meeting. I was definitely not able to make that one and wish the members that had left a fond farewell, and just want to take a minute to welcome the new members of the board to this amazing group, and we look forward to working in the future together. Really, my public comments are pretty straight. Just very stoked to be here. Again, Warp Core has come a long way in a short period of time. We are coming up on our 6-year anniversary, bricks and mortar on the Woodstock Square, which is a huge accomplishment for us. And quite honestly, really the last couple years, we would not have been able to get here without the help of this board and all you amazing people who have shown faith and confidence in me, in my staff, and our abilities to do the work that needs to get done. I started as prevention through engagement. I always say, Connie, you know, you were the first one I came to way back in the day. Help me. How do I do this? And that is never forgotten. But the strides and advancements we've made in truly formulating and implementing prevention-based programming at the core level of one-on-one with young people truly is working, and we are just, again, ecstatic for the support that you've given us, and, you know, a giant thank you from my heart, and I mean that, you know, our team and myself get out of bed every day to do 2 things: prevention, programming for kids, and street outreach for the low income and the unhoused in our community. Neither one of these issues are going away, and I just, again, want to express as much thanks as I can to this board for confidence in Warp Core and our team's ability to do the work. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Is there any other public comment? No, I don't have anyone signed in, but I just wanted to ask. If not, we'll continue. I need a approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of December 17th board meeting? Amy, second. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. Carolyn seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Going right on. We don't have any presentations tonight. Under my report, you have some forms in your packet that you need to sign and fill out for the county. It's conflict of interest, code of ethics, and it should be in your packet. And if you could maybe sign it and read it and get it back to Bridget tonight, that would be great. Confidentiality, economic interest forms, and then there's online. It's about, at least for me, I'm not real fast, about a 2-hour training of OMA and FOIA that you have to do online. And it gives...
Did you want it for the new board members?
Pardon me?
For the new board members, did you want to explain the statement of economic interest just real quick? The deadline and what it's...
Oh, well, I don't know when the deadline is. Oh, May 1st, May 1st, okay. You have it in your packet, and if you don't, you can get it from Bridget. But yes, it's that you have no interest, economic interest, and of course, the code of ethics.
They'll get an email in the future.
Oh, you'll get an email in the future from the county. So the OMA and the FOIA thing is what takes some time on the computer. Yes, Carolyn?
Do you by chance have them printed up? If you want us to do it tonight, or else I didn't print them up. I don't.
For economic interest or for the...
The ones that you want us to sign and hand
Yeah, it's
back
right in front of you.
They should be on your packet.
Yep.
Right in front of you, is it not?
Oh, they're there. Okay, I just was reading the front thing. Thank you.
Yep, they're there. And so if you sign them and just get them back to Bridget at the end. And like I said, the FOIA thing takes, at least for me, it took about an hour and a half. I'm not real speedy reader.
Economic interest will come
Board-
solely through email.
Pardon me?
The statement of economic interest will come to you via your email, but it's not even, hasn't even been sent out yet. So,
Board Development Day is on February 8th, starting at 8:30. Make sure it's on your calendar for that. In training network opportunities, it's in your packet. I won't go over all the different training that we offer here, but this room is always busy with different trainings. I don't have anything else under my report. I did tell Leo to put something in Board Development Day, that we should talk maybe about transportation and people in need. I ran into, what's the guy's name? Scott, yeah, okay. So, Hennings, okay, yeah, because he had talked to me about maybe putting might be a cost savings, putting it all together, okay. I'll turn it over to Leo and her director's report.
Thanks, Connie. Well, first off, I'd like to welcome Linda Hoke and John Reinert to our board as official new board members. So this is your first official board meeting, so welcome. Also, you know, I do provide an ED report that you will see. And what I'll do is most likely just highlight some things that during this time, or if there's any additional information, I also will bring that up. So in the ED report, the additional update that I have regarding the pilot program funded by DHS, DMH in the jails to manage the SMI population that are awaiting transfers to the state operative facility. As many of you were aware, you know, that has been a huge issue here, and I have an update that Thresholds has met with the sheriff last week, and they toured that empty jail facility where they were thinking about doing the pilot that's being proposed for this project. And Thresholds has agreed they will be turning in a pilot program grant to DMH on this project. So we're really excited. They're hoping that this could start as early as the spring. So that's an update there. Another update to, I had no new awards under the grant writers, but we did get, the break did recently receive a $5,000 grant for general operational needs from the First Congregational Church of Christ in Elgin. So we did get a new notice of an award that I wanted to let the board know. Also, just a reminder, I did include in your packet for the first time, because I thought it would be helpful, some information from the intake coordinators meetings. The intake coordinators meetings, again, have all the intake coordinators, not only from our provider agencies, but beyond, that meet monthly. And during these meetings, they have presentations of different programmings that I thought, especially for funded programs, that I would include them in this packet. So I would love feedback if you feel like that's too much information, but I thought it would be valuable information for board members to have. Also, breaking news that I know that that I sent emails about earlier was regarding the federal freeze on grants, loans. Again, it was originally supposed to be temporary, and CMS was also not supposed to be affected, but Illinois officials did tell us that Medicaid and the Medicaid portal was affected and providers couldn't access that portal. We have heard that there is a hold on this, that a federal judge did put a hold on this until Monday. So we'll hear more about what's happening with that in the future. Again, I was trying to provide information so that our providers would have clear information on this and how it would impact them. We did hear back from one provider in particular who was concerned, and that's Veterans Path to Hope. About 50% of their budget is based on federal funding. So they were very concerned about the holds on the grants. So again, we'll revisit this next week and see where that's at. The other piece, as I mentioned in the last committee meeting, the Ethics and Compliance, to please mark your calendars for April 3rd and 4th in Springfield with our association, the Association of Community Mental Health Providers and mental health boards across Illinois. You can join other executives and mental health board members across Illinois. Again, it's April 3rd and 4th is that meeting, and you'll get more information in the future. Lastly, I just wanted to mention, I'd like to give a big shout out to our training coordinator, Chris Doherty, who's not here today, but I still want to give her a shout out for her involvement in the PIN, the People in Need Committee, for this past year, and really to all the providers that were involved in this event, as well as the staff and board members who assisted that day and helped man our mental health board table. Again, thank you all for this. The final counts are in, and there were somewhere between 750 and 800 people on campus for the People in Need Day. They had 25 breakout sessions with 36 speakers, and 428 people attended those sessions. So again, thank you all that were involved in the People in Need. It was a great success.
I've only heard great things about it. Some suggestions, but mainly good stuff. If there's no other comment, I'll turn it over to Lindsay, Finance.
The Finance Committee meeting met last week, and I do plan on us increasing our meetings in the first couple months of the year, mostly to address some of the better planning we can do for our next allocation cycle. So I want to report, Leo and I attended a meeting with some county administrators, talking a little bit about the information that they would like, talking about our sales tax, talking about opportunities to collaborate with them, discussing topics that we've only talked about in here, such as what it would look like to transition some programs over to the county, like the social work and the 22nd judicial programs, and to talk about any kind of creative opportunities that they have. What was asked of us was to come together and present more regularly to the committee, either at the Committee of the Whole or the Finance Committee at the county, with a plan for what it will look like and our current spending, our current budget, and if and when we think we would run out of fund balance dollars, as that would pertain to the county board's decisions regarding how they might be able to support us, such as considering another referendum. So it was a preliminary conversation, and they provided a template that they'd like us to use, which was discussed at our Finance Committee. Everybody was provided that, and we're going to start further conversations looking into topics regarding our fund balance policy. I know Leo is looking into legislative opportunities pertaining to our current sales tax and what kinds of things that we could tax or different opportunities there. Looking at some projections for kind of conservative, moderate, or aggressive use of our fund balance and what that would look like. Discussions around any potential investment opportunities. I know that we looked with the county treasurer at the end of last year, and I know she has reapproached some of us about whether or not that's something we want to consider again. And some discussions about our building facilities, the maintenance of the building, and just general creative ways that we might be able to handle our budget and anticipate the needs of future funding allocations so that we don't do what we had to do last year, which was a little bit of a last-minute pivot in our decision-making. So hopefully using better numbers moving forward to help us inform where we're going to make tough decisions if we have to make tough decisions. So I welcome anybody that isn't already on my Finance Committee to join us if you'd like to come in. And other than that, we went through our typical finance reports And the reports for last year are not finalized, which is very normal because we're getting information in multiple months. So unless something has changed, I think we were shown version 2, and there will be a version 3. So those were reviewed, nothing of interest or note, but I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has them.
If no questions, we'll move on. I need a motion for the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 6A through 16.
Second. Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry, we did. Vote on your machine. I was reverting back to years ago. If you don't know, on your little thing, it'll say yes or no. Okay.
And then don't do anything yet.
I can't even see that, it's so dark. Oh, stop the vote. I can't see that, but that's okay. I don't have my glasses on, but I can read it off of here. We had 7 total votes, and they're all yeses, so it's passed, the consent agenda. Okay, old business. Sales tax planning challenges and board alignment. Okay, well, board alignment, you have the, I think that's in your packet, for the different committees. Is that in their packet?
Yeah, but this is regarding the sales tax planning and challenges, kind of that Lindsay already outlined. And we talked about it at the Finance Committee, that we will be, talking more further at the Finance Committees about the alignment that we need to get to for our fiscal year 26 budget and beyond. And also, our Board Development Day will
Yeah.
touch on it further.
Board Development Day, we will really narrow in on our budget and stuff like that, so, and our challenges. The requirements and guidelines and allocation.
Yeah, so in your packet, you see the opioid settlement funding capital request. We did update that after the state's attorney's office gave us legal guidance that we can use the opioid settlement funds for certain capital requests. So I apologize that you don't see the red line version, but on page 7 of that document, we basically added D, which was the Mental Health Board Opioid Settlement Fund capital requests. So, so this document is basically updated to include the capital requests.
Is the capital request for new directions? That's one of the capital requests we have, right?
So far, yeah.
Okay. Are there any questions on that? Okay.
We
Then
need a motion.
we need a motion to accept the updated requirements and guidelines for the allocation of opiate settlement funds.
I'll make a motion to approve 7B, the updated requirements and guidelines.
Okay. We have to vote. So it should come up on your, okay, well, it passed, 7. We have 7 people here and it all passed. So now I'll move on to new business for discussion and action. We have a decision memo in your packet for proposed staff title change and salary changes. And that is in your packet on page 53. This position, and you have the job description is for Bridget, who does a lot of work here. Are there any questions, or can I have a motion to approve this recommendation?
Second.
Discussion?
Discussion? Okay, well, then we'll vote. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see, it didn't come up here. Okay, did it come up?
I have a couple of questions, and it's not so much, well, it's kind of on both of these since they're both going together. First, the transfer of, so it's on page 62, when it talks about the position changes and where it's going to come from. So with the consultants, I guess I'm curious with moving those, like how that's going to affect those other areas of like the overtime, the tuition, the consultants, the special studies, like what's going to be affected by switching that over?
Yeah, well, we look at our budget throughout the years, you all know, and we try to find efficiencies. So this is early on. It's our estimates of what we believe of dollars that we won't be utilizing. So we're just trying to look up front and looking at those efficiencies. I mean, Melanie can speak to it further, but, you know, she's already assessed some of the personnel components, so that's a little easier there. The other ones, again, we just try to make our best judgment of any efficiencies that we can move dollars around so that we can incorporate that.
And I guess it's kind of just being so early in the year is kind of why I'm asking that question, like, because we still have 10 months left to go and how it's going to impact, like, will there be reduced overtime because of the increase in from the part-time to full-time position? Is that where some of the overtime, or are we going to need that overtime later, or, you know, or why did we include that overtime if we didn't need it, you know, 2 months into the year? And then kind of with the consultants too, like what consultants were potentially on the horizon that are going to be now not utilized? Or special studies too.
Do you want to answer that, Melanie? You didn't click up on here, so.
So regarding overtime, we're in a difficult position compared to some departments. We don't really have any cushion in our personnel for if somebody picks up,
Can you speak into your,
like insurance partway through the year. So that overtime is kind of our cushion. We typically don't use the overtime. What happens is when staff works extra hours one day, we just comp it for another future. So very rarely have we ever used the overtime budget. So it's just kind of our little bit of flexibility in our personnel that we kind of build into that budget.
So will everyone be salaried now?
No,
No.
There'll still be people that will be eligible for overtime.
yes.
Yes.
And then you kind of hit on another one of my questions in that it notes that the individual currently that's going to go from the part-time to the full-time position is opting to not take the insurance. But it concerns me from the standpoint of that individual at any time could take the insurance. So that does leave still potentially $23,000 that you would have to find somewhere else in the budget. So have you thought about that?
Well, she wouldn't have really had the opportunity unless she had a life change to pick up the insurance. And we have talked to her about it, and she would potentially, if she did pick up insurance, it would just be for an individual. So we would be not looking at $20,000, we'd be looking more at $11,000, which is still an amount. But yeah, that's, you know, something you guys need to consider with this, and that's why I did point out that there's potential.
Well, and along with it, it kind of concerns me sometimes to make decisions based on a specific individual.
Right.
You know, that this is a position change, it's not, you know, specific to an individual. So I guess that does, you know, that potential of that $23,000 being needed is there.
Right.
So I guess I would like to see a little bit more confidence that it's there if
Yeah. And
there
it's-
was either a different individual or a lifestyle change that was, potential.
Yeah, at this point, she's not going to be using that. And as far as efficiencies throughout the year, as far as studies, you asked about studies and consultants, at this point, we're not needing that. As we find efficiencies throughout the year, we will, again, go through the board and let you know where we're moving things to where we need to place them. But at this point, we feel confident, regarding what we're putting forth in the decision memo.
And I noticed that the position has added, so with the change in the IT, is that added into the regrading of this other position at all? So that's not when you added the e-scribe that was already done, that's not adding any of those positions? I know that was mentioned that she could cover some of the IT part for the board meetings, but that wasn't, so that's not going to be taken off elsewhere and be able to have some movement with that still will be, that position will still stay as is.
Yes.
I just moving forward, and I think I've expressed it last year too, kind of the moving of, it's so early in the year, and I know, this should have probably been taken care of at the end of last year with the change in the grading.
We can't do it until January. There's a blackout period through county that you can't reclassify.
But you could anticipate it,
We did.
but you didn't budget for it.
We couldn't.
You could in an anticipated budget.
Our budget was already turned in by that point.
Okay, so this is what it looks like from my standpoint. It looks like you put money in another fund that you knew you didn't need to then move it to this fund because you,
That is absolutely not correct.
okay, I'm just saying, I'm talking, right now, I have the floor.
I am
have the
just
floor.
saying that is
but
absolutely.
I have the
But things
floor
come out of your mouth which are not correct.
Oh my gosh,
That is
Leo,
absolutely
please.
not
It is,
correct.
you're out of order right now.
Okay.
Please,
Let her finish.
please. I'm telling you what it looks like from I have a right, I'm the one that reviews the packet. I would have rather have seen it when we were doing the budget. That's the appropriate time to really see it. I'm not questioning it. I'm just saying the perception. And I know I'm not the only one that has this perception. So I would really have liked to see this so we could have planned for an actual position incorporating the proper benefits on that second one.
And I agree with that, Carolyn.
So I just don't like seeing, I'm now a little concerned of what's going to have to give because we did 2 months ago talked about, I'm not clear on what we're going to be giving up by switching this around. So I'd rather see it on the front end than the back end so we could actually plan for it. And so and my concern is still that there's potentially $23,000 that could pop up that we don't have covered.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I absolutely agree with you, Carolyn. Our desire and our plan is always to do it during the budget process. And actually, our budget process, as you know, starts in March. So we will be, making sure that all of those, because, any personnel issues or changes are in that budget. That is always our desire and hope. There were just some changes last minute that were made. For example, lease agreements were taken off of our contract person and put on to the building requirements. So we made those changes, and throughout, towards the end of the year for the leases, again, after our budget was already approved. So we already started, that position already started taking on more responsibilities after our budget was already approved. So I totally agree, and we're all on the same page that that is our desire as well, is that it's in the budget. It's just at the end of the year, there were some changes that were made internally that affected this.
I think we could have seen it before, so we agree to disagree on that. But so I don't have a problem with the changes, I just have a problem with the timing of the changes. And I don't feel like I still feel like there's a potential that we're going to need to look to cut elsewhere, and if you're prepared for that, if there's a change in that lifestyle change, or there's a change in the person that is taking on that second position, that new full-time position, that potential is there. And I just want to make it very clear that that potential is there. And we need to, we really need to make these decisions for the position and not for the people.
I agree.
So just want to make those points. Thanks.
Did we vote on this? We haven't voted on it.
There needs to be a,
Pardon me?
you already had, that was the discussion. You
right.
already had, so
Right.
now you're voting.
Now we're voting.
Unless there's more discussion.
I don't see you.
When I reviewed the part-time move from 20 to 30 hours, I had some similar questions that Carolyn did. And I just wanted a clarification. Is 30 hours the mark for a county employee to be classified as full-time and medical benefit eligible?
I don't think so.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Correct. So I had some questions about the decision to move this up 10 hours versus, I always look at like when we move something up 10 hours versus to a full-time position, right? And what are the other kind of opportunities when you do that? Because, two 30-hour people, become benefit eligible, and you're looking at that $22,000, benefit package. So I was just curious what the discussions were around 30 hours versus 40 hours, if there's an anticipation of this going up in the future, et cetera.
Yeah, actually, we did need 40 hours, but because of the budget, we wanted to minimize it. We are going to put the extra hours, we're planning on putting the extra hours in the fiscal year 26 budget, so then it would move to, which actually, we're not 40 hours, we're 37.5 hours, so it'll move in the budget in fiscal year 26 is what we're proposing for that. We just didn't want to put in that total amount and save some dollars here.
Okay.
So we did have those discussions.
And 30 hours is a full-time position?
Yes.
Used to be 32. I'm old-fashioned, I guess. Okay. So we need to vote on whether we want to do this decision memo. Okay, it's on your... Okay. It passed. All right. Member comments. Does anybody have any member comments? If not, we can ask for a motion to adjourn and see you on the 8th. I don't see any more on here, but there's, so can I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you. Second. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. I'll see you on February 8th for our all-day planning.